Plenary is foreseen in March. For the vote tomorrow, please remember your voting cards. The next item on the agenda is the ТЕН-T guidelines, where we have the joint rapporteurs in Mr. Koumoutsakos and Mr. Ertug. As an introduction to this first exchange of views, I just want to remind members that the two co-rapporteurs will produce one single report, so we won't be on two different reports. They will do one report. And I'll give the floor first to Mr. Koumoutsakos and then to Mr. Ertug, just so that they can say I'm not biased. So first of all, Mr. Koumoutsakos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. As you said, today we have our first formal exchange of views.
Mr. Koumoutsakos, a moment, please. Any subsequent meetings to the last discussion can be held outside so that we can hear our co-rapporteur give his presentation to the committee. Thank you. Mr. Koumoutsakos.
Thank you, Chair. As you mentioned, today we have our first formal exchange of views on the draft regulation on the ТΕΝ-T as proposed by the Commission last October. It's needless to underline the importance, the complexity, as well as the difficulty of the task lying ahead. I would like to begin my remarks by putting ТЕН-T in the broader political picture and perspective. The European Union is experiencing a particularly difficult period because of the unprecedented economic and financial crisis. Thus, we urgently need good news that could convey a clear, positive message. And this message is that Europe can win the bet for sustainable and environmentally friendly development and growth. The current crisis should be seen as an incentive to invest rather than as an obstacle. Investments in transport infrastructure can help to overcome the crisis and to create jobs and economic growth. The ТЕН project can and must be a springboard for the much-desired sustainable development and growth. In this respect, ТЕН is not only an economic but also a political challenge for the European Union and for European Parliament in particular. I believe that 2012 must be the 10th year, and I firmly believe that we, the European Parliament, should become the steam engine to achieve this goal. Now on the working method. As it was already said by the Chair, the report on the ТЕН guidelines will be drafted and presented by two co-rapporteurs, my colleague Mr. Ertug and myself. Only one single commonly agreed draft report will be prepared. Thus, there will be regular weekly meetings between the two co-rapporteurs and, of course, exchange of views with Commission and with stakeholders as much as possible. And, of course, we are going to keep shadow rapporteurs, Mrs. Barantika from ALDE, Mrs. Kramer from Greece, Mr. Zile from ECR, Mr. Kolicek from GUE, informed and will cooperate with them, so meetings will be organized at a later stage of this process. Also, close cooperation will be held with rapporteurs from the committees for opinion, that is ENVI, REGI, IMCO. Last but not least, not at all least, it goes without saying, Mr. Chairman and colleagues, that we are going to very closely cooperate with the rapporteurs for the Connecting Europe facility. As far as the next steps, a hearing on the ТЕН-T guidelines covering three important issues, methodology, ТЕН corridors and requirements, is planned for the TRAN meeting on 8th of May. I hope that this will be approved by the TRAN coordinators, Mr. Chairman. And of course, we very much hope that Vice President, Commissioner Kallas, will attend this public hearing as a keynote speaker. As far as the timetable is concerned, preparation of the draft report is foreseen by the end of May, and then we count presenting it in June, voting it in TRAN committee in autumn, and voting it in the plenary by the end of this or this year or beginning of the next year. As far as the substance and the content of the regulation is concerned, Mr. Chairman, there is still no trans-European transport network, but only a patchwork of national networks. Many cross-border links are missing. Serious bottlenecks persist, and multimodal nodes and transport have to be strengthened. The TEN-T guideline so far has been only a collection of national wish lists. Governments tend to think nationally, but EU, and particularly European Parliament, must think European. It is against this background that we, myself and my colleague Mr. Tug, we welcome the Commission proposal as a promising and good basis for further work. Of course, room for improvement is needed, and there is room for improvement to make it more ambitious where we can, and more pragmatic and more realistic where we must. The Commission's proposal, as I said, is a promising basis for further work. The Commission tries to address the current problems and shortcomings. As rapporteurs, we generally share the Commission's view and approach in key areas. In particular, the dual-layer approach with a comprehensive and a core network for each mode of transport, based on a methodology rather than on Member States' strict political priorities. We share the views for a stronger or a clear, I would say, prioritization of projects, focusing on key elements of the TEN-T, that is bottlenecks, cross-border missing links and multimodal nodes, and of course on the European added value. We share the views for the need for better connections between airport and rail systems, and of course the focus on the seaports as getaways to third countries and the stronger focus on sustainable modes of transport. In this context, we give particular importance to the motorways of the sea as an important component of the TEN-T network. We share the views for better coordination and coherence of the different measures and between the various funding instruments. In this respect, the role of European coordinators is instrumental, though some clarification and further elaboration is needed. The proposed corridor approach as a management and coordination tool has in principle our support, but we believe that the corridors should be dealt more within the guidelines framework than within the CEF framework as it is now. Clear conditionality. Yes, we agree in principle in stricter conditionality and in principle in the stronger use it or lose it approach. As far as the deadlines are concerned, you know that there are two deadlines foreseen in the proposal, in the proposed regulation, 2030 for the core network and 2050 for the comprehensive network. We share this view, though we know and we are well aware of the fact that Member States or colleagues would prefer to see more flexibility in these deadlines. As far as the instrument, that is the regulation, we prefer and we support the approach taken by the Commission. We support the regulation rather than a weaker form of piece of legislation that is decision or other. So we support the regulation approach. To sum up, our general support is positive. Our general approach is positive for the Commission proposal, and of course some fine-tuning and some amendments are definitely needed. And I don't have any illusions that during the next months a lot of different positions and proposals will be surfaced. And these will be the thorny issues that we, all of us, will have to deal with. But on these particular thorny issues, my good colleague and friend, Mr. Tug, will refer to this difficult point. I kept for myself the easy part, and I gave him the difficult one. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.